Well, this is the last video, or a re-recording of the last video. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Exploded Mommy.
Now, the Aveline mission is PS3 exclusive, but if you are not playing this game on... actually, I think it might be on PS4 too. But do you know?
I'd have to go take a look. It's definitely not exclusive. I know I played it on the PC.
Yeah, it was released a lot later though, right?
Yeah, I think that was the deal.
Okay. Well, actually, in the first run of this... Oh, well, we have our old friend Connor here to introduce us.
Yeah.
Whatever name you take, you came to me for help once, and now I must ask the same of you.
Yes.
There is a girl of uncanny strength.
Now, actually, in the interim between the first recording and this one, we talked about the Joker being PS3 exclusive on Batman Arkham Asylum, and I did look that up. In the re-release for Xbox One and PS4, the Joker is playable.
Even as far north as Newport. I believe you will have more success.
So that's nice.
She was last seen on Goat.
Now, you've probably noticed something very early about this video, and that it is extremely dark.
Your friend.
You will see this happen to me several times where I have to stop and use eagle vision to find out what the hell I'm doing, because it's just so dark I can't see what's going on.
She is dangerous when
It was not overly pleasant recording this video, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So, while we're here, why don't you talk a little bit about Aveline?
So, Aveline Grand Prix is a assassin. She started out... She started out a little later than Connor did. She's primarily... Well, she's from New Orleans. She is half African, half American, mulatto, I guess would be the term at the time.
Yeah. That's not the term person should use today, but still.
No, that's...
I don't care.
She studied being an assassin.
That guy just did a backflip in midair. I forgot that.
What happened here?
We all escaped together. She helped us. She said a ship would come, but they found us.
Yeah.
Who helped you?
Patience.
So
Gibbs.
go on.
So,
Our camp was just beyond that hill, but they ran.
Aveline's mother was the slave of her father, but they could not get married because of legal reasons. Eventually she was freed and disappeared sometime later. Aveline herself was raised pretty much as a lady in New Orleans at the time, a Southern belle. And she had a stepmother eventually who I'd say that's more of a liberation thing to talk about, and play Liberation if you want to find out more about that.
Sure.
She was trained by one of the few assassins who managed to escape the Purge, but then again,
Well, the Purge was more limited.
The Purge was more limited to the northeastern assassins.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Not so much the remainder, which was in the southeast / Central American area, which is more like what actually happened with Kenway during... That was more the lot that Kenway actually meets during Black Flag, not so much the colonial assassins.
Yeah, the colonial assassins are... The group that was purged was done by Achilles, right?
Yeah, that group was mainly Achilles basically controlled most of the Northeast, and when they were purged, they kind of broke the majority of the English colonies at the time.
And unless you think this is Rogue spoilers, it's not. This has gone into more detail in Assassin's Creed 3. In Rogue, it's something you see firsthand.
Yes.
But this is all backstory in Assassin's Creed 3.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have you seen Patience Gibbs?
Find the others. She must be with them.
Assassin's Creed 3 is kind of the start of a weird sub-series because there is so much backstory in it that you really have to do supplemental reading to kind of get the full picture of what's going on in the actual games.
Well, I mean, at this point, we're literally sitting at... In terms of, like, Assassin's Creed 3, it literally spawned off, like, 6 separate games, each with their own different protagonists.
Yeah, but...
Of varying lengths.
Right.
You had Assassin's Creed 3, which had Connor and Haytham. You had Black Flag, which had... of course, Kenway. You had Rogue, which is Shay McCormick, who's technically a Templar.
But he interacts with Haytham.
Yes, he interacts with Haytham. You had Liberation with Aveline. You have... of course, I'm going to miss the really, really obvious one. The only other really one, I guess you could say, was Freedom's Cry, which is... And it's,
yeah,
you know, it's not
it's like 5.5 games, let's say.
Yeah.
Since Freedom Cry,
yeah,
it's a separate one, but it's really, even though it has Adewale in it, it's such a standalone entry that, yeah, you could say 5.5 games.
Oh, it's really like 4.
Have you seen Patience?
It's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd count Freedom Cry, so
I'm trying to help.
let's split the difference and say it's spawned. Assassin's Creed 3 was the start of a 5-game sub-series.
I hope she's with the others.
Yeah, basically 5 games, and it's, you know, a bunch of protagonists. They're all very much related, and Unity's kind of tails at the end of it, though it really doesn't factor into it at all. It's just kind of something that happens relatively soon after Assassin's Creed 3, but doesn't really have anything to do
aside
with it.
from that one connection, which is admittedly an important part, it's not in that. I wouldn't count it in that sub-series.
No, it's Ben Franklin's there briefly, and that's
the final mission is its thing. But since Rogue did come out after this game, that's spoiler talk.
Yeah. So
yeah, go into how Aveline and Connor know each other.
Yeah, so over the course of Assassin's Creed Liberation, one of the things that happens is, as you're basically making a bunch of things fight, Aveline tracks a slave, and the slave ends up in the northeastern portion of the United States, and Connor and Aveline kind of work together to track this man down. He's an agent for the Templars. And he gets blown up in a hilarious way.
You know, I think in the original recording you talked about that guy blowing up at the exact same point that just happened.
Yeah, it's... Like, I'll see if I can find a video of it or something, but it's literally the man is running away, is basically what happens is he gets in a cart and he kind of just flees the scene. And there's a few explosive barrels on the back of the cart, so you have to run along and then shoot the explosive barrels and blow them up. It's also interesting in that as a mission, there actually is like an alternate version of it that you can play. It's one of the
you play things.
You play rewards that you can download to the game to expand it. So it's not really too much different, but basically Connor and Aveline kind of take turns throughout the mission, leading each other around. There's kind of like a split path thing going on, and so during the game you obviously play as Aveline, but you can download the alternate version where you play as Connor, and it honestly isn't too much different. It's basically...
Oh, and I should note, as a production note, anytime you see me awkwardly standing around or there's an awkward cut, that means I was playing around with my TV's brightness settings to try and make this easier to record. But honestly, it did not make much of a difference at all.
Yes. So right now, Aveline is traveling yes, with Connor to...
Yeah,
Rhode
I was
Island.
about to ask, is Connor said that Aveline helped him out once, do you think that's what he's referring to?
Yes, that's probably it. They were both looking for this person or whatnot at one... Well, Connor helped Aveline out, and that is why...
Yeah, now this is Aveline helping Connor out.
Patience Gibbs. What is going on here?
But
Yeah.
I think this is after the events of Assassin's Creed 3, I think. So, I don't know what Connor's position in the Brotherhood is right now. I think he's a master assassin just because he took out Hatham and the rest of his Templar goons. But he's not the same rank Ezio was during Revelations, for instance, where he's Il Mentore.
Yeah, Connor doesn't quite get the same level of respect that Ezio ever quite pulled off. He's kind of key in reforming the colonial assassins.
Yeah, and he built up a small kind of gang of his own, I want to say, but it didn't really have much to do with the assassins per se as an organization. So he's... my interpretation is that Master Assassin is kind of a rank for assassins who have pulled off major Templar hunting operations and such. So they're really they're really good at killing people, but as far as building and expanding the Brotherhood, that's something other people have done.
Yeah, well...
Because Assassin's Creed 3 was more or less just Connor hunting down Hatham and his Templar goons. Not really building the Brotherhood in the same sense that Ezio did during the course of Brotherhood and Revelations.
He reformed it a little bit,
Dr.
but
Judge will take the Wets to Fort Washington for questioning.
quite.
Yeah, it's not the same level of involvement in the organization. But in after Assassin's Creed 1, when there was Al-Mualim, apparently there's a lot of different mentors. Like Altair was the Levantine mentor, Ezio is the Italian mentor, there's the Mayan mentor. So there's a lot of these different leaders of assassin branches throughout the world. But by the time of the present day, or at least year 2000, there's just one mentor.
Devil!
And that's,
The blood is on your hands! You'll never have my mother's
the dad.
No, it was that guy who was killed by Daniel Cross, right?
Discipline her as you must,
Oh,
but remember,
okay, yeah.
I'm paying you to keep her
But
alive.
I know William
must
Miles is
have
kind of a
that
high-ranking
child.
member of the Brotherhood in the present day.
Yeah.
I will avenge my mother! It will never be yours! Release me!
But yeah, as far as this time period and the whole Assassins v Templars war, I think this is a time when the Assassins have a bunch of different branches all over the world, and they're all led by different people.
Yeah. It's a lot more fragmented.
Yeah. For example, the opening scene of Assassin's Creed 3 was basically at a low point for the British Templars, I think. So the British branch of the Assassins is doing well, at least at this point in time, but they are doing poorly by the time the events of Syndicate roll around.
Any news from the man who went after?
Now I'm having to remain stealthy at this point because I don't want to interrupt these incidental conversations. It always annoys me when I do that. But as far as actually getting into this stupid fort, it's right behind me.
There's basically a massive earthworks project going on that they have to go through. But it... Yeah, well, I mean...
Apparently I missed it.
Let's put it this way, I mean, it's already starting to get dark, and this... Your game settings are already fucked as it is. And there's a dude just sitting in the tent, standing in the tent. Literally, in the tent.
One more guard weirdness thing for the road. But yeah, we also have this year's big Assassin's Creed release coming out in just under 2 weeks.
Yes.
The movie. A video game movie actually happened, and it's getting released into theaters. Which is more than you can say about the Resident Evil movie series, at least for the most
Well, the
part.
first one was.
Yeah, but I think there's a new one that's going to be released in theaters soon. But as far as like Resident Evil has a huge movie series, and only a few of them have.
And
managed
absolutely
to
none of them have
actually get
anything to
into
do with the
theaters.
games. It'll be interesting to see
Exactly.
what this one pulls out. Ends up being like.
The
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed movie.
I think I got a discount for it because I bought Watch Dogs or something, but I don't. I'll debate if I'll see it or not.
Well,
Probably.
will you see it eventually?
I mean, eventually watched Embers. It only took me like 10 years.
Yeah.
Now that I own Embers.
But if you were fortunate enough to buy the Ezio collection on PS4 or Xbox One, you also got.
Oh,
two
that's
free
why.
movie
Yes,
tickets,
that's
I
why
believe.
I have it. Unfortunately, the problem that I have is I don't know if the movie theater
Yes.
that I liked it would be covered under that.
Oh, that's kind of lame.
I'd have
It
to
only
look.
applies to certain theaters.
I'm not too sure what the exact details of the promotion were.
Hold you!
But yeah, in one of the trailers for the movie, they have Jeremy Irons, who has now a two-pronged connection to the Assassin's Creed series. He played Rodrigo Borgia on an HBO series, and as we all know, Rodrigo Borgia was the main villain in 2 and a chief antagonist in Brotherhood.
Secondary antagonist.
So it's yeah, but it's a two-pronged connection to the series so
Yes.
far for old Jeremy Irons. And one thing that's weird to me about movies these days, do you know J.K. Simmons, the psychologist on Law and Order? Why is that guy getting so many movie roles out of this all of a sudden? Like he was in the Accountant with Ben Affleck, and he's going to be Commissioner Gordon in the Ben Affleck's Batman movie, and he's getting a bunch of these kind of other minor roles. But seriously, where did that guy start getting so many movie roles out of?
I mean, he's been in movies forever, man. Like,
I've only started to notice him a lot recently.
shoot. I mean,
It's just kind of weird to me. One actor suddenly gets super popular, and his most well-known role is on a TV series that's about 15 years
No,
old
I
now,
mean-
more than that.
he was, what, J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that too. But does anyone really remember him as J. Jonah Jameson
Yeah.
in the Spider-Man movies?
I did. I just did.
They do?
Thank you, wasn't burn after reading it. Thank you for smoking.
Go back here, you coward!
What else? Let's go actually look at this. They made a Boxcar Children movie? What?
But yeah, as you can see, with my display settings being kind of fucked as they were when I was recording this, it's really hard to get around these underground areas because just everything is the same color and it's really dark, so
Yeah.
I can't really tell what I'm doing a whole lot of the time. It's a good thing for me there's so much like auto tracking of jumps in this series. Like if you go in the general direction of something, your character will kind of lock onto it. I'd just be jumping around like an idiot if there were more kind of free jumping
Yeah.
mechanics in this game.
I catch up company next week. He's doing a legger.
But I mean, my display settings only seem to apply to Freedom Cry and Aveline. They weren't a problem when I was recording Black Flag, and they're certainly not a problem in other games I play a lot, like Uncharted 4. So, I don't know what to tell you.
I remember this game being particularly just dark in general. Like it was just kind of screwy.
Bastards trying to get away!
Like they didn't just balance
Yeah,
normal light levels properly before they released it.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help. The setting of this mission is at sunset, and you go into a dark underground passage to get into the fort. That is not helping matters.
Doesn't help matter, and oh, by the way, we'll be soon in the cave system. That doesn't help matters either. Literally nothing here helps. It's like all the worst.
Yeah, and other PS3 games I play, like BioShock Infinite, they're fine too. It's only Aveline and Freedom Cry that does this to me. And for a fort that's run by Americans, there sure are a lot of British speakers here. British accented speakers here, I should say.
I hate to tell you this.
I just like that guy scream.
I hate to tell you this, but many of them were probably still born under British rule.
Well, yeah, but come on. They still had American accents. And I don't know what these guys are looking at, but it's got to be real interesting.
They're wondering what would happen if somebody were to stick their head underneath that lift when I go flying upwards.
I should have tried to kill this guy with
What
the
a
lift.
grade.
Before, I might have mentioned this before, maybe it was in the first recording, but until that one trophy in the Brotherhood DLC, I didn't even know you could kill people with lifts.
Yeah, well, it's a general giant pain in the ass normally, so it's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, I did it by accident, and I think the second or third videos for this thread.
Well, it's just
I was not intending to, but I
well,
did.
it's just kind of a pain in the butt because you have to have a guy close, in order to have a guy really, really close, you kind of have to let him catch up to you, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's something you'll do on accident more than you will do it on
well,
purpose.
You don't really need to ever do it on purpose. You just gotta let it happen.
Exactly. But scaffolding kills and Revelations, at least those were fun. Nothing like burying 4 guards under a pile of rubble just because you felt like it. Nothing like it.
Raise the alarm!
So, how is Watch Dogs 2 going? Are you playing that a
I
lot?
finally beat it. It's a very fun game. It's very... It's honestly a very good game. In a lot of ways, it kind of feels like the Black Flag too. It feels like it's the Black Flag as compared to Watch Dogs 1's Assassin's Creed 3 in a sense, where it kind of refined a lot of what happened in that first opening salvo, first game, to something a lot more palatable and fun.
Well, when it comes to Assassin's Creed 3, I don't think the gameplay mechanics of it were bad for the most part. There was of course dumb shit like the
integrated
crafting
the
system.
boat sailing a lot better. They got rid of lawn bowling.
Yeah, I liked the lawn bowling. I liked it more than Nines Men's Morris or whatever.
Yes, that's true.
But the thing is, I thought the gameplay mechanics were mostly fine in 3. It's just how they chose to develop the story and how the how the opening act in 3 was not great. Hatham was good. It's just once you became Connor, it just took too goddamn long for the game to open up and you can do shit.
Yeah.
But that's got nothing to do with the gameplay mechanics. So I think the mechanics were fine for the most part. It's just a kind of broader design philosophy that was much better in Black Flag compared to 3.
So as compared to...
Who are you?
Let's get you out of here. Follow me.
She's blind.
Hell I will. I do not trust what I cannot see.
Is she? Oh, that's why she said that. Okay.
Yeah. So, but in the end, like, they refine a lot of the hacking mechanisms. They completely ditched the pretense of the first game for how dark it was and all the event creation and stuff, for a much more lighthearted romp.
Yeah, I kind of get that impression.
And generally, they parodied the fuck out of.
This music right now, was that in Liberation, or is it something new in this game?
I haven't listened to the Liberation soundtrack in forever, so I couldn't really tell you.
Gotcha. That would be a nice touch if they did, though. Because I don't think this song was in actually in Black Flag. So I don't know, I think that'd be cool if that's the idea there.
Help! Prisoner on the loose! Stop her! Catch her! Stop her!
But yeah, if you're ever on an SAT and it has, it's about Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed 3, well, there's your answer.
Yeah, for your analogy section.
Hold her
Yeah, exactly.
there. There's only one place left it could be. I'll get it out of her. Will you hand over the charm, sweet thing, or is it a physical exam you crave? I assure you, I've brought all of my instruments.
So you never really get the outright implication she's blind. It's that one weird line that I think indicates she's blind, and that's kind of a weird thing. But yeah, we're going to be doing some brief adventuring with her later. There is one part in particular that does not go well. I think you remember what happened, what that moment was.
I'm sure you've had quite enough.
You'll know it when you see it. These, anytime there's, like, allies under attack, like, De Medici and 2, or really any kind of protection missions, have you ever had trouble with any of those?
Only if I have to keep the target itself above a certain threshold.
Yeah, that's about the only challenge there ever is to these protection
They generally
missions.
don't ever die, it just...
I am interested in seeing if they made the additional objectives in Brotherhood easier in the PS4 version.
Yeah. I am not looking forward to having to get the tank mission done again.
I will protect myself.
Again, if it wasn't for that, just you can't get hit at all. If the bonus objective were retouched to stay above 50% health, that'd be fine. I wouldn't have a problem doing that.
Don't you dare run from me again.
There you go.
Tell me
Aveline de
your
Grand
name.
Prix.
Aveline de Grand Pré.
From New Orleans? So you are real after all. What is it that you want if it is not my charm?
Only you. Charmless.
But yeah, I thought Bowls was
of
fun
match you
in
fancy then?
Assassin's Creed 3.
friend
It was
sent
fun
me.
playing against
Connor.
Washington and him
You
kicking
will
my
offer
ass.
safety and training.
Which apparently is
Mademoiselle,
a historical thing. Apparently
get my
Washington
charm
was
back,
very good at bowls.
And you can take me as your game pullets.
Then let's go.
But now we go underground to the hardest part of this video to record, just because, again, I can't see shit. It's
you know
really
where Judge is
dark,
taking the
and
child?
there's not a whole lot of
My
light,
best bet is
so
the
Eagle
Newport
Vision
Tower.
is basically my only way to
tunnel will
tell
lead
what
us there.
exactly I'm doing at any
Yeah.
given moment.
He does his real work underground.
I think the Doctor was one of the multiplayer characters in this game,
He parades around like
but he
a
is
saint.
certainly no match to Il Doctore from Brotherhood and Revelations.
It gave her strength of
Come on, he had like a beak match.
There,
It was
there you
awesome.
go. There you go.
without it.
What about?
She just said she was
We'll
blind.
have it back soon.
Oh, okay. Okay, there we
I
go.
will make sure of it. I'll scout ahead.
But yeah, as a general rule, I'm not typically a fan of how they've nerfed Eagle Vision in some of the more recent Assassin's Creed. Like in this game, you can keep Eagle Vision on as long as you want while you're walking, but as soon as you start running, it disappears.
Yeah. Though in Syndicate, they kind of did away with that.
Yeah, what I like to do when I'm hunting for collectibles is I like to turn on I boost and then I turn on Eagle Vision, just so it covers a wider range.
Yeah. There actually is like a hacker vision in Watch Dogs 2, believe it or not. I'm actually tempted to get Deep to see if there's a snowboarder's vision, but I haven't quite decided
How
that.
do I get up there?
I'll show you.
In the Batman Arkham games, in some of the later ones, they had those guys that detected use of detective vision. But
Yeah, well-
I always found that was really easy to get around because they take like, I don't know, 10 seconds to actually get a lock on you. And if you turned it off at any point in that 10 seconds, they'd lose the signal.
Yeah.
So it was really easy to exploit that. And I guess she ran off the ledge.
She's blind.
But I don't know, aren't blind people supposed to be awesome in fiction? Like Daredevil, aren't these guys supposed to be great?
Mole. Mr. Magoo. I don't know.
Steady, does
I'm
It
just
kind of goes halfway. It goes either way, to be honest.
I'm just saying your odds of being a great warrior are better if you're blind than if you can see. Typically. I mean, there's not many blind folks that are aren't awesome fighters. At least if you're talking
That's
about
because they're all dead.
Well, that's an awfully frank way of putting it. Yeah, right now I'm not too sure where I'm supposed to be going. And
Well, I would continue on the near little path that you had come from.
apparently it took me a while to figure that out, though.
You came for the giant cavern, so I would go down the stairs.
And I don't know how I missed that. I apparently was not looking at my radar.
In a large way, this actually reminds me a lot of Vlad's Tomb in Revelation.
Yeah, kind of got that similar feel. And general kind of climbing puzzle stuff.
Sorry.
That was a pretty cool little dungeon. I enjoyed that a lot.
Look,
Yeah.
I'll handle this. Stay back.
Again, I'll say it again. Revelation's either my second favorite or still my favorite Assassin's Creed. Syndicate is pretty high up there, though. Syndicate's a really good game.
Yeah.
I need you to follow closely behind me. Do you think you can keep up?
Of course. 'Cause that works
But
so
yeah,
well
I am
with
looking
us.
forward to go back and play Revelations again. And play Den Defense, because I know it pisses you off as much as I want.
I know. And the first thing I'll do in that game is max rank my assassins and then never have to do 10 defense other than the one time the story plan forces you to. Unless they change it so there's an achievement for doing 10 defense.
Well, I think the trophy lists are the same.
I have to look.
Although one thing was weird in the Uncharted code, that did not go well. But the weird thing is that it said desynchronized ally lost. I don't know how that happened either, even though I was the one who died.
Maybe she jumped in the pit because she's blind before you could.
You know, you can't explain everything by she's blind, you know. See, I can accept them using British slang like sod this, because that's the kind of language they've been around their entire lives, but it still seems weird to me. But this is how you're supposed to do it. Use the silenced ranged weapon. Crazy, I know. In Revelations and Brotherhood, was the crossbow technically silent even though it made a lot of noise?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So OP is fine.
And you could also shoot it at impossible angles. Ezio would break his wrist to aim it 90 degrees downward.
She would.
It was a very odd weapon, but Ezio is apparently a master of the crossbow.
I will be more careful next
Yes, he
time.
is. Ezio's crossbow training.
But you know that first trailer for Revelations that had that Wood Kid song playing over it? I love how that song became really popular just after that trailer was released. And to be fair, it is a really good song.
Yeah.
There he is.
Let's go.
How exactly did she get ahead of you?
She's blind?
It doesn't always work out like this, you know. So now we're back to doing our favorite, we're doing our favorite, form of the ox chase.
How the hell did I do that?
You're blind?
It's basically true, yeah. What I did is I jumped off the side of the ledge to the left of the bridge, then somehow I magnetically grappled onto the broken part of the bridge and climbed up. That was very odd. And I'm using...
And now you're going to discover for the first time that you actually do have a short range.
I was about to say I'm using my fist because I don't know I have a machete. Or
one of the best things you can do in Assassin's Creed Liberation: run around and just keep brandishing the machete or the hatchet. Just circle it. Just
why is that?
Around. Because it's hilarious and people know.
You can just be a general goofball with a machete, just annoy people.
Yes. So you're running underneath the port tower, which was something that was technically... I don't know if it was this big or this
I'll be more
intricate.
careful next time.
But yeah, I remember the first time we did this, you gave me that interesting trivia about who built this tower, or who at least commissioned it, I guess.
Yes, the commissioner of this tower was Benedict
True.
Arnold, who is famous in American history, sort of. I mean, maybe just a little.
People have heard of him.
And made you carry a whole lot of boxes. I mean, that was entire thing was make you carry a lot of boxes. So maybe he could, I don't know, give West Point to the British during the Revolutionary War. Maybe that was something that people might remember.
It's connected to the boxes somehow. I don't know how, but it is connected to the boxes.
Yeah. I would make an OSHA joke, but we're still 100 years too early, 200 years too early.
For an OSHA joke, sure.
Yeah. So I have no idea how the hell you're supposed to get around.
I mean, look at this shit. I can't see anything that's going on. This is one of those asshole jumps. It doesn't look like you can jump over there, but that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, Vlad's tomb had one of these asshole jumps. It didn't look like you could get over there, but that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it is just barely makeable.
But it's not like one of those dickish NES jumps where you have to get your character sprite to the very edge of the platform and then jump.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't interrupt his subtitles like that.
What is he chanting?
It is from a hymn my mother liked.
I want to hear this song. Is that so much to ask?
He is madder than I thought.
Yeah, there's a reason I keep turning on Eagle Vision. I was briefly afraid I was going to push her off somehow.
Yeah.
But hey, at least we got a nice view here. That I wish we could see any of it without that whatever. What do you call that Eagle Vision coloring?
In a large sense, it's very much sort of like a night vision sort of deal where I'm not really big on cues.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's got some name for it, I guess.
You
deceived me. Did I?
Your charm is no
And there we go, we're done.
It does nothing.
We still got a cutscene.
It's not for you.
You know, people complained.
nothing is free. Nothing is free. Everything is permitted.
You know, people complained about the bosses in MGS giving you a big life story as they're dying, but only 2 bosses actually did that.
Yes. Even
What's
I'm
that?
not that
Yeah, I didn't mind
did
the
not think
speeches,
I'd
but
give up
everyone
all
makes
my
it look like
secrets so easily.
every Metal Gear
I'm learning
Solid
not
boss
to.
had a big
But how?
Does it
speech
work?
about their life on
It
their
lets me
deathbed,
see
but
into
I,
minds,
but
No.
I would blame High
into
Daisy,
all
but
things.
what does High M
Only
Daisy
for
have
a
to
few
do with
seconds
anything?
anyway,
yeah,
long enough.
to escape.
for the FGS.
Oh, okay.
Patience, will you?
Accompany me to Connor's
But
homestead.
there we go. This is the last video of the thread.
I would be honored.
Excellent.
Yes.
See you in Brotherhood,
Bye.
everyone. Alright, well, that went well.